Hello and welcome to the Alexandra Wenman show, and I really want to introduce you to my special guest today, Rae Calnan. Rae, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, honey. It's about time we got you on here.
Yes, it's absolutely wonderful, and it's a beautiful building that we're in as well.
Oh yes, the sanctuary. We're in the sanctuary. It's wonderful. Well, just to tell my viewers, I've known Rae, God, how many years have we known each other now? It's a long time.
A long time.
It's a long time. We were on the angelic Reiki journey together, and we've both had similar paths. We've travelled the world. We've both been to Peru and India and places, and had the call. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Rae, she does amazing work. She obviously works with the angels. She works intuitively. She can read, and she also does past life, future life, life between lives, and all kinds of amazing things, meditation. So she's a whole mixed bag. But Rae, can you tell our viewers a little bit about how you got started on your kind of spiritual awakening journey?
It's kind of like, as all things do, all stories do, it starts with the beginning. Although technically, beginning in this lifetime, because there's been many lifetimes, so my beginning goes way back. But in this lifetime, I basically chose to be born into a family that was quite spiritual. So went to spiritualist churches as a child, my mum did palmistry and psychometry, and aunt did tarot. My dad took us all everywhere. You know, my dad wasn't spiritual, but he was quite happy just to take my mum everywhere. So I was always sort of like in that environment, and I always sensed energy and stuff. Some of it was, as a child, was really quite scary. But although I was very much in a spiritual child, I've got a very analytical mind. That's the Virgo in me. I'm always questioning, how does that work? Why? All those questions. So I probably want my parents to.
But why?
Especially if they told me off for something, like, you shouldn't be doing that. I'm going, but why shouldn't I be doing it? Because I say so. Yeah, but why are you saying so?
Let's just analyse this, Mum and Dad.
Exactly. It's like, bless them.
But that's brilliant, because, you know, in this world, we kind of need to be more like that, don't we? Because if you just blindly follow what you're told without questioning, how do you know what's right or wrong?
Exactly. You know, and with everything I do, I kind of like look into it before I actually go in and, you know, just see what's behind it. But because of that, of the analytical side, I was very much I loved kaleidoscopes, and I loved the patterns they made. And obviously this is when I didn't know anything about geometry or anything like that. And also I was very much interested in how things worked, you know, so I persuaded my parents to buy me a microscope because I wanted to see how things work. And I remember, I've actually got a scar on my finger. I was actually, because in those days children were able to have scalpels without
supervision. No health and safety.
Exactly. And I cut my finger, and it's like, I'm bleeding. Oh my blood, I can look at it under the microscope.
Oh my God.
And also I was very much into the stars, so I wanted to, you know, so my parents bought me a telescope, and I wish I still had it.
You're like little Arcturian scientist popped up on Earth, aren't you?
Exactly. Whereas we know from Precious Wisdom, I have got Arcturian background. So they had a telescope. And then when I was about 11 or 12, I watched a programme. If you're of a certain age, you'll remember it. I don't know if they had it in Australia, but it was called Tales of the Unexpected. And it had a particular theme tune. Do, 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 do. People remember. I don't know why I was watching it at that age, because some of the stuff on there was a little bit scary. But there was one show that really caught my imagination, and that was where a girl was playing about, and she took someone back into a past life, and that really got me. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of like, and started getting me thinking about the mind and anything like that. But then by that time I was sort of like more interested in wanting to be an actress, so
Oh my God, another similarity that we had. Bloody hell.
I know.
Seriously.
I know. We just literally followed each other through life.
I think a lot of spiritual people or spiritual teachers had that call, like to perform or to be something kind of out in front. Yeah,
but because we wouldn't be able to do what we do if we
couldn't.
If we didn't do that. So that kind of like took over, and then life took over. And although I dabbled with runes and tarot cards, I didn't really do much about it. And then around about 2000-ish, obviously when the when things started uplifting on Earth, I got the call to go and do a trip by myself, my first ever trip to Peru, and I travelled around to Peru for 3 weeks, and I met some amazing people. It was like there were 11 of us, and it was just like we'd all known each other. We just clicked. So
one of those soul agreements to come together, right?
Exactly. And I got to do the 4-day trail up to Machu Picchu, which was absolutely amazing. Hard work, beauty. I mean, going through cloud forests was, you'd be in all this rain and sleet, and then suddenly you're in this cloud forest, and it's like beautiful. It's like sunshine and warmth and birds, and it's like. But I was really lucky because on the 4th day, when you get up really early to go and look at Machu Picchu, obviously the sun does rise every day, but it doesn't always go through the sun gate at a particular spot. It did for us.
Yes. My husband did it, and it was overcast. He didn't get to see it. But we hiked up there ourselves and did it. So amazing.
It is absolutely amazing. And whilst I was wandering around Machu Picchu, I was standing on one of the pyramids, and I was just looking down, and I literally, a few seconds, and it was like I was back in time, and there were all these Incans below me. Didn't last very long, but it was kind of like a very brief thing. It's like, whoa, okay, that's kind of like
a flashback, like a memory,
like a memory. And then obviously angels started coming in, and that started me on that journey with the angels, and then a friend.
So let's just backtrack. When you say angels started coming in, can you explain this? Can you just describe this a little bit? Like, what did you experience?
Okay, it wasn't a big awakening, like, hey, we're here. It was just very subtle. I can't really. It was just like I knew they were there. And things sort of like kept coming up, and of course back then there wasn't really a lot of angel stuff in this country. America, Ireland, and I think my first angel book was from an Irish writer.
Was it Lorna Byrne or one of those?
No, it wasn't Lorna Byrne.
Glenys Eckersley or one. Was she Irish? I don't know.
No, I can't remember her name. She wrote Angel Magic.
Oh, okay.
But that was one of the first books I'd brought, and it just kind of like different angel things kept popping up. And in fact, I so desperately wanted angels that I actually joined a catalogue, Ace Christmas catalogue, just so every Christmas I could buy angels.
That's so cute.
Now you can just go down the street and
you can get it anywhere now, can't you?
But back then it was like, no, that didn't exist. And I kind of like felt I really needed to connect more and more and more with the angels. And it's like I really need to be working with them. And I didn't know why. It was just a feeling like, I felt them around me. I knew that I had to be doing something. And then angelic Reiki sort of like came into my life.
It calls you, doesn't it? It's just
it does. It
you might not know what it is, but you're like,
I just need to do that. And the only person I could find at the time was Jane Lee Miller. And it meant travelling because I'm down in Kent and she's up in Harrow. So it's like for the 3 days of doing it, I was getting up early, travelling down there, and then travelling back. And so that started me on the angels. And then a friend of mine became trained as a hypnotherapist, and she wanted to practice past life regression. And she said, "Oh, can you be a subject for me? I need to practice on someone." I'm like, yeah. And it was amazing. It took me a long time it does take me a long time for somebody to get me under. I'm quite good at getting people under, but for me...
That'll be the Virgo mind.
Yeah.
I believe where I just go, goodbye.
Yeah. I'm done. Yeah, it does. It takes me... I think she had me painting a white picket fence for absolutely hours. Yeah, it was a long time before I went under. But I went back to the 18th century.
Wow.
And it was Spanish, French Pyrenees, and I was a little 7-year-old child, and I remember there was a stone house walking with bare feet into the mountains with snow. But I didn't have much for life because I was a very sickly child. And I didn't have any friends because I was a sickly child, and I used to see children walking past. But I literally sat down, the garden was beautiful, and I sat down with my back against a tree, and I actually felt my heart stop. I died as a 7-year-old. But it was...
What a nice way to go though, like against a tree.
Yeah, and it was so beautiful because there were lots of butterflies and everything. Now, whether that happened at that time or whether it was me in this life allowing me to accept that death. And I quite often think when I work with people in past life regression, quite often yourself will allow you to experience the death in a slightly different way, so it's not as scary. Or
you can reframe it, can't you? Rewrite it and rewrite the story as well.
So it doesn't freak you out. And it was like, that was so moving, and so things like, I really need to start looking into this. And then I came across and I thought, well, the only way to do past life regression is I need to do hypnotherapy. So I trained in hypnotherapy, and then it turns out you don't need to do hypnotherapy to do past life regression.
You don't have to train as a hypnotherapist.
No, you don't have to train as
interesting.
Because past life regression and future life regression, which I'll go into in a minute, are slightly different to hypnotherapy. To me, past life regression and future life regression are more like being in a waking dream. Hypnotherapy takes you into deep into yourself with all issues that affect you now, that are in your life now.
And you can reframe that.
And you can work through that. So you don't need to go as deep if you're doing past life or future life, because you need that fluidity, and you're working with the past or with the future, not with stuff that's grounded.
But presumably, when you do the past lives, you're still going in and doing therapy and changing contracts and clearing beliefs and things like that.
Because it's stuff that is affecting you now, but it's not as phobias that may have started as a child in this life. So, parents always said to you, you're useless, you're horrible, etc. And that ingrains you in this life. So it's not a past life that's caused that, and it's in this life, and that's where the hypnotherapy works. So so you don't need to train, you don't need to be a hypnotherapist to do past life regression. So I did the past life regression, and it's like, there's something missing, all these little parts, the angelic Reiki, running meditation classes, doing angel cards, past life, hypnotherapy. It's like there's still something missing. And then I came across Angersh and future life regression, and it's like, okay, we can go back. And then I thought back to when my friend practiced on me, and when she brought me back, she said, we can go into the future. But at the time, I didn't want to go into the future. And it's like, so you can go into the future. So I did the training with Angersh. And because I've done all that, and I've done a lot of work on myself, that's how I relate back to my childhood experiences as to why I do the stuff I do now. Because I've forgotten all this stuff about the kaleidoscope and everything. It's only when you actually sit down and you start going into it that you realise that everything that's happened in your childhood sort of like helps you into where you're meant to be going, and you can look at where your journey and what your path is supposed to be. And looking back, I've always liked telling stories. I mean, I was one of those children that was reading before they talked. And if you're watching this, you're not hearing this. But I used to, when we sent to, actually she probably already knows. She probably knows. But I was so into books and reading that when we were sent to, you had to go to bed at a certain time. My sister needed the landing light on because she couldn't sleep in the dark. So I literally would be at my bedroom door reading by the... Aww. And then if I heard my parents downstairs, I'm just going back into bed. So I've always liked reading, I've always loved telling stories, my dolls were always having adventures, I was making up stories. And I've realised that has come into my life now, and that I use storytelling where I guide people into the past or into the future but I'm there as a guide. I'm not there to solve people's issues or help them heal. I'm there to help them guide themselves so they realise they help themselves, which allows them to go on their journey and spread their wings to become the best possible people that they are.
Help them piece their story together, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, so that they can walk their spiritual path and move on and, you know, and transform their present.
I love that. And you also teach Future Life, don't you? That's great.
Yeah. So I teach people Future Life progression, and again, you don't need to be a therapist of any kind to do Future Life progression, because we go through everything. I mean, there are scripts that you can use. You know, we go through how to talk to clients when they come in, make them feel at ease, go through the whole process. And because Anne is such a business person, there's lots of business stuff in there as well, which is really great for setting up businesses and helping businesses or existing therapists, new ideas that you can get. So you can either take it into your new therapy, as a new therapy into your existing one, or you can create a new business from it, and it works really well with other modalities as well. You know, on the transformational journey that I offer, I use a mixture of future life, past life, hypnosis, meditation, angelic Reiki, whatever I'm guided and the person with me is guided to do, to help them on that journey to get the best possible thing that they can get from it. Because quite often a lot of issues that aren't caused in this lifetime are caused by a past lifetime, which is why, you know, I love to help people heal their past, create their future and transform their present, so that they can take control of their destiny in the here and now. Because if you go back into a past life and you see what issues have come up then, if you heal them, they don't affect you in your present. So you can be, very much so you can be in your present. And then if you go into the future and you see your future life in 5 years, 10 years, or even a future lifetime, you actually then don't worry about your future and you can concentrate fully on your present. So you're happy in this life and you can actually move forward. And a lot of stuff you see in the future, you can bring back earlier to make it happen a lot quicker. It is, because it's kind of like, if you knew 5 years ago what you know now, you know, 5 years ago, what would Alex have said to you? And you'd have made changes and done things. And if you've got that advanced knowledge before it happens, brilliant, you can move.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because what you think you want in your future isn't always what your future self wants. You know, our taste change. We do go through like sort of micro evolutions as well as big sweeping evolutions. You know, like, and as we know, we're in the quickening, so everything's speeding up and changing and chopping, and we go through these big transitions. So where you sit now, how do you see the future of your work? Like, where would you like to take everything that you're doing?
I'd like to actually expand it more. I mean, there's so many people that I'm meant to be helping, and one of my roles in this is my last incarnation on Earth. It's something I've kind of like known from, I mean, I've had...
There's a few of us. And they're like punching through the false ceiling to get out.
Exactly. You know, no, I've had about 300 past lives. And that's just on this planet. God knows how many I've had on in other dimensions and planets. But that goes into a whole different thing.
That's just in this soul cycle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We won't go into quantum and all that. And now I've gone and forgotten where I was with that one.
Talking about where you're going to take your work.
Yes, where I'm going to take it. See, that's the other dimensions coming in.
That's just holographic thinking, love. Yeah. We're just going, I don't need to speak because everything is already here anyway.
Exactly. It'll
So we could do this interview as like people do when they do that, you know, we just stare at the camera.
Yes.
And it's already happening. On some level. You've got to laugh or you'll cry, really, though, sometimes, right?
Exactly. And life is so, you know, we are here for joy, you know, we are here to enjoy life, to make this our perfect life. So I knew that this was my last time, and then when I did my training and I was taken into my future lifetime, I actually was part of the universe, and it was just absolutely beautiful, and it was kind of like the confirmation. And again,
that's your kaleidoscope, right?
That's my kaleidoscope. And, you know, and that's when you think back and go, oh, geometry. And angelic Reiki obviously has geometry in, and that was confirmation. And then that set me thinking about, well, this kind of thing, why I chose the parents I chose. I chose to be born into a family that was very accepting of spiritual stuff and didn't put, you know, you're going to be christened or anything like that. You know, you evolve as to what you want to evolve. I had a very happy childhood. A lot of my previous past lives, I died as a child, and you know, whereas my childhood was very, very happy. I've had lots of friends in this life. I progressed, and I chose to be born into a family where women live to very old ages.
Wow, mine too, hey? Have you got Celtic ancestry?
Yes, I'm
they live forever.
I'm
Me too. Yeah, magical bloodlines that live forever. That's like my Scottish stock. Yeah.
Exactly. See, all these things that we've got in common is
I know,
so amazing.
We're probably related somewhere back in the bloodline.
More than likely. Yeah, we probably are. And so I know that I'm going to be living to a very old age, and the reason I'm living to a very old age is because I've got lots of work to do now, and that is to help people, you know, which is one of the reasons why I do my show, my weekly Facebook show, is to talk to people of various, you know, who can bring different subjects into.
I've been on there. What's the show called again?
Angels and Destiny.
I love it.
Yes, and you're coming back again.
I'm coming back again.
Yes, because we had such a conversation. It's like, do we really need to finish
this one? We need to keep going on this, right?
Yeah. Oh no, we really do need to stop now. Okay, come back. So to help get people thinking and talking and looking at different ways of helping them get on their spiritual path, get them into the future. Because not everyone will resonate with me, you know, they'll resonate with other people, and they'll resonate with some of my guests, and that's good because that then puts them on their path. But I want to sort of like do more speaking, you know. I've seen, when I've gone into the future, I've seen myself on stage talking, you know, to people, and that's sort of like where I'm going. Obviously the training, I teach angelic Reiki, I teach future life progression, you know, doing more training, and that, and then of course my retreat.
Tell us about, I love a retreat.
Yeah.
Tell us about the retreat.
This is something that came up in a meditation a long time ago. In fact, I think I did a retreat with Sabby Hilmy.
Yes.
And that down in Glastonbury, and we were doing a meditation, and it was like retreat. But the retreat is somewhere I live, and I'll do my own stuff there, but other people will be able to hire out the space.
Keep having the same visions. I've seen one in Australia.
Yeah, to run their hire the place to run the retreats, and it will have a wood.
This is like, I keep getting this message about that we're raising new cities of light, new hubs of light, and there's all these people, a lot of them women, who are going to be opening these centres, like sanctuaries, and so tell me what else you've seen about it.
So it's got a wood, which would be because I'm very much connected to trees, and that is the Celtic roots. You know, I'm very much connected to trees. You know, I'm very, very, very much with them. In fact, I was a tree in a previous life, but that's a whole different story.
Anything and everything goes on this show, mate. You can tell. You can talk about you being a tree. I can see that actually.
Yeah.
Patience of a saint.
Yeah, connected to the earth, but connected to the universe as well. So I was a tree. I haven't actually explored that quite that deeply, because it's not something that I've been called to. It's just I've experienced it, and I have affinity with trees. So there'll be a wood. There'll be a fire pit for shamanic rituals, and it's like a Georgian house, that people will stay
it's
in.
like Hogwarts, isn't it?
It's
almost like, or like X-Men, the school for the mutants.
Yeah, not that I've watched X-Men, but I'll take
brilliant. I love it.
There's a thing where people will stay, and it'll be communal cooking. So even if guests come privately, everyone will always eat together because you'll do your own cooking.
Community.
Yeah, and they'll sort of like be saucepans and everything in one colour for vegetarians, vegans, another for meat eaters. So everybody, it's inclusive of everybody, and there'll be a meditation yurt. And that, I don't know where it is. Unfortunately, when I went into the future to see it, I just saw lots of, and this is how you can tell that you're not making it up, because if I'd been making it up when I went into the future, I would have seen all this at a particular time. But when I went into the future to see my retreat within 5 years, I was just seeing all these trees, and all I kept getting was, why do you need to see it? You're gonna have it. You don't need to see it. And I'm sort of like going, well, I want to see it.
We need the evidence sometimes, Spirit. You know, come on.
I want to see it, but it didn't. But I have another time done an aerial view.
Wow.
So, but have you ever looked on Google Maps and the sort of like aerial view? Everything looks the same.
Everything looks the same. It's the bird's eye view, isn't it? Yes, I'm seeing a roof. Excellent. Thank you, universe.
There's
That's all I
trees.
get.
Yeah, great. So I've
Was it not labelled as to what area it was?
No. So I don't know where in. I know the first one is in this country, because there's actually going to be another one as well. There's probably going to be when I've gone into the future in Eastern Europe, but that'll be more of a community.
Beautiful.
Living, and that's sort of like 10 years plus time. So there's so much that I'm going to be doing, and I'm planning on doing, and just trying to go with the flow of life, just to see how it all goes, because I think sometimes we fight against the flow of life, and when we do, we put blocks up in. I don't know if you've kind of like had that experience before. Yeah.
You just have to trust, don't you? I think trust is my number one thing, and I always find that if something's not working, like it's always like, if the door doesn't open, it's not your door. But I always find that if that's going on in my life, and I just really center and come back to myself and sit in trust, I just trust that whatever's meant to happen will happen. Inevitably it all unfolds at the right time, and it might not be immediate. And I mean, as you and I both know, we've both been through challenging times over the years, where things just haven't been moving, and a lot of people watching this will be in the same boat. You kind of, I feel like I was talking to someone about this the other day, where you feel like you've given up on your dreams, or you've surrendered any old dreams or goals or things that you thought were part of your purpose, even though you had this real knowing that it hadn't happened yet. I feel like a lot of that's coming back around for people. It's like we've had to go dig down into our foundations, look at our shadow, do the work in the underworld, have everything almost denied us, and then we've done the work, the inner work, and now it's all kind of coming back to the fore. I can feel like a lot of light on the horizon, especially for the old souls and the light workers and the people that have really been walking the path, because as we know on this path, anyone can get a certificate to teach anything, but if you're not walking the path yourself, that's really where your wisdom comes from, as far as I'm concerned. So as far as I'm aware, Rae, you've earned this beautiful future that you're talking about, and I think it's coming. I think it's happening. Do you know what I've noticed? While can I just show our viewers something?
Yeah.
All this synchronicity, right?
Of course.
We both have star handbags. I'm sorry, I had to point it out. I did not even notice. But it's interesting. I'm sat here going, and I never use that handbag. That's fairly new, but I never really use it. I only take it on nights out. So it was weird that I brought this today. Anyway, this to me says it's written in the stars. And so cheers, mate. That's going to happen. That's incredible. Yeah. So this is what I love about you, is that all the stuff that you teach and all the therapy that you do use it on yourself, right? And you are walking your talk, and you've been there. You got the ticket. You've got the certificate, but you've also gone and put it through the testing and put it through its paces, so you understand it all. And I find that some of the best healers and teachers and or facilitators we'll say are the people that have sort of been through their own challenges, found the way to come through it, and then are able to help others through it. And it might not be exactly the same thing. Of course, it's never going to be exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's that I think that kind of it really brings through a level of compassion and empathy, doesn't it? It's like if you know what it's like to really go through those times, and then you come out the other side of it, or even if you're not fully out the other side of it, that you're still able to hold space for others. And I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah. And it's not, and a lot of stuff that I've dealt with has been in past lives, not in this lifetime. And I used to struggle with that when I first started, because there was always, you have to have had this trauma, that trauma to get on a spiritual path. And I was like, but I haven't in this life. But when I've looked at my past lives, I've dealt with all that stuff in the past, which is why it hasn't affected me in the moment. So if you kind of like, people are going, yes, you've got to have gone through this trauma and you're not, don't, you are on a spiritual journey.
It's different for everyone, and it's all relative. Like people would look at my life, and on paper it looks utterly blessed, amazing upbringing in Australia. My parents had plenty of money. There's all kinds of amazing blessings, but they wouldn't know that I suffered from really deep depression when I was younger, and part of the reason I got on this healing journey was to heal myself. And like you, a lot of trauma in my past lives and some in my childhood that people wouldn't know about. So this is the thing, don't think that because your life looks great that you that you don't have anything to kind of look at or feel, or offer, or feel like you can't complain. Like, not that we're saying we want to whinge and complain, but the first part of healing is acknowledging what needs healing, right? And looking within and allowing your vulnerabilities to come to the surface. And so, you might think, people would just think I was being a whinger if I talked about this, that and the other. And you might think, compared to some people, I don't have any trauma, which is what I guess you and I both have gone through. But it really is relative, and everyone has something that triggers them or they need to look at. But also everyone has a unique purpose and a unique gift that needs to be watered like a beautiful rose, allowed to blossom, allowed to bloom. And often it's going in and digging up the earth and the crap beneath the surface that will fertilize that rose. I don't know, I'm talking in analogies. I don't know what's going on now.
but it is, and it's inner work you've got to do yourself. But people like Alex and I, we don't do the work for you. We help guide you into doing, and that's where the storytelling to guide you into solving it yourself, seeing it yourself, so that you can walk your own path, because I can't walk your path, Alex can't walk your path, you can only walk your path yourself. And that's what we do. We help guide you to work out where you're going, what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's lovely, and it's so wonderful to see people transform, and to see yourself transform too as you go through it. It's like what advice would you give your younger self, or what would you tell your younger self? What would I
tell my younger self if I could? I would say, go and do things, and don't allow yourself to be judged. I think a lot of us have a lot of self-judgment. We allow a lot of other people to judge us, and we're kind of like, people were going to look at us and think we're strange or we're weird, and we shouldn't let ourselves. And if I told myself that years ago, I would have stepped out of my own shadow a lot earlier than I did now. I would have put myself out. I would have used my gifts, my things a lot earlier.
Does it still trigger you, that fear of people judging?
Not now, but that's because I've worked on my past life stuff, and there were past lives where I was sort of like a priestess, where I was judged, and I suffered for those things which obviously came into this life without me realising that they'd come into this life, but by working with the past life stuff, I've cleared that. So I don't have that judgment now, or that fear of judgment, because I am my own unique person.
You are my hero, seriously. I still struggle with it. Even though I put out this show, and even though I think I've almost got like a personal challenge, right? Because the whole thing about, making anything normal to talk about on this show, that's why we do all the weird stuff, and all the normal stuff. What is weird and what is normal?
It's unique. When people have always called me, you're weird or strange, I've gone, actually no, I'm unique.
Yes. Darling, I'm eccentric. I love that word. But this is the thing, we should not be afraid to be who we are on any level, and what is weird is only somebody else's label on it. And it less affects me. I wouldn't be doing the show if I wasn't, but there was a time when I was terrified to let people know what I was really about. And I think now we're being called to step up much more in our work. You really have to overcome that. And it's funny, to me it's almost like this sort of slightly little invisible fence. Like before I'm about to post something, not so much the interviews, but definitely the channelings and things like that, when it's channeling or light language or something really kind of that's out there, because it's out there, right before I'm about to post it, it's almost like, do I, click, send, what are people going to think? And then it's like, just let it go, it's none of my business, because you'll get people coming in and loving it, and you'll get people who send you the most beautiful messages. Thank you for sharing that, it resonated so much. And I get that with my poetry a lot, but you can also get people, and I don't get so many of these actually, because I've been through the cyberbullying witch hunt thing, prediction collapsed, but I do, if you get a negative comment, I find it doesn't actually hurt me as much as I thought it would, or it doesn't touch me. It's, if you keep saying, it's none of my business how people react to what I'm putting out, I'm just following my purpose and doing it, then you're less attached to it, and then you because you're not judging yourself.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. And I know that quite a few people that watch this show are people that are healers and therapists and channels and people who are venturing out, and who, we're here to say, the work doesn't stop. It keeps going, and we keep evolving. And, even though I'm out there doing this show and Rae's doing hers, well, you're more brave than me, but I still get nervous. I still think, and I still get almost this trigger of, you should be more mainstream. You should be more beginner level, and I know that's not where my work sits. I know that I'm here for the light workers and the starseeds and the people that are already kind of on the awakening path, but I'm also here for those that are awakening overnight. And I think that's a lot of the work you're doing too, right? People might come to you with no idea who they are or who they were, and immediately they're given an insight into their past or their future or their whole galactic spectrum, right?
It is. They've got to that crossroads in their life. That point where I'd got to myself. Whereas, what am I here to do? There is more to life than what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
What is it?
She can help you find it.
I can.
I love it. And do you know what I love? Because obviously my friend Lorraine, have you met Lorraine?
I've not met Lorraine
You
yet,
need
no.
to meet. So my friend Lorraine Flaherty does similar work to Rae, but when we do, there's nothing I love more than being put into trance and getting to fly around in my other lifetimes and in the other realms and exploring, because I'm so visual, so I'm like, put me under. So I can't wait. We'll have to do a little switcheroo or something and organise it.
We'll have to do.
Yeah.
And you don't always get to see things.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those
that's real visual.
That has real visual. Mine is more of a knowing. It's like, okay, I'm here. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
There's a red flower there.
Yeah. It's a clear cognizance, isn't it?
Yeah. That comes through, because people experience in different ways. You don't have to see all these pictures. You could just get colours or sound.
You might just feel it. It might just be an inner knowing. I don't know how I know this, but I know it. And I know that when you first start experiencing regression or progression, you'll think you're making it up. Like your logical mind might go, oh, come on, like you're making it up, just go with it. And I always do this thing with my clients if I'm guiding them through a process. It's like, you're using your imagination. Just tell your logical mind, we're just playing, we're just going to imagine that this is happening, because the imagination is the key to all of it, isn't it?
Exactly. If you think about everything that's come into life has been imagined at some point.
Yeah.
You know, Facebook was imagined.
Yes.
It came in, you know, cameras were imagined.
Yeah.
They came in, so...
We imagined ourselves
Exactly.
into existence.
Yes.
We're going to go out there again, I'm sorry.
Why not? I like going out there.
It's brilliant. So, honey, for people that want to get hold of you and book sessions, tell us a little bit about what it looks like to work with you one-on-one.
Okay, well I do, obviously I do standalone with future life regression, past life regression, angelic Reiki, but I also do a transformational journey.
And this is your creation, right?
This is my creation, where I work with you for 3 months, and there's 7 sessions over those 3 months, and what we do is we will explore past lives, future lives. We may do angelic Reiki healing, we may do meditation, angel cards, we may even have to include some hypnotherapy, but it's worked on a very much intuitive basis with what both of us want to help you progress further, and everything's always recorded so you can always listen back to it. And I'm always there, you know, on the end of a phone if you need any information. So that's sort of like the main thing where I can put everything together and help you completely on your journey. But I can also just do the single, so, you know, separate things like an angelic Reiki. You want to experience your future life, past life. I mean, I've recently been, a lot of stuff I've been working with recently is taking people into the future lifetime to meet a loved one, so a departed loved one. Because sometimes you can go and see a medium and they'll pick up other people, but you might not be chosen. Well, you can go in, you can be guided. I can guide you.
And you have the experience.
So you can experience it yourself, so you can get the best of both worlds.
We're so doing similar work. It's bonkers.
I know. But then everything is sort of like coming to everyone.
It's all part of that morphogenic field, isn't it? We're all tapping into gifts that that we can all take forward. And I work out of my therapy room. I've transformed my bedroom into a therapy room, which is absolutely gorgeous. Everyone just loves coming to the room. But I also once a month work out of Black Femme. I've got a room up above a shop. And also with the beauty of technology now, you know, online, you know, I do Skype, Zoom, you know, I help people in other countries, different time zones. Are you finding you can do the regression easily on Skype? Or
yes.
You can. Do they put headphones or?
It depends on, ideally I kind of like say to them, if you've got headphones, headphones are quite good with the mic. But as long as they're not being disturbed and they've got a good internet connection, then it's really, you know, it's really easy to do. Teaching you can't do. Even angelic Reiki teaching or future life regression teaching, you have to do that in person, because you have to be able to work in the physical with other people. But actually doing the journeys, the healings, going forwards or backwards in time, you can do online, because all time is linear. It exists all at the same time. Yeah.
You mean non-linear?
Non-linear. I know what I'm talking about.
All time is just whatever. It's all happening now anyway. So
whether it's this lifetime, on another dimension, in another lifetime.
I feel really giddy now talking to you. This is ridiculous. I'm like literally we're having a giggle. I think there's quite a lot of angelic and fairy energy around.
There's lots of angelic and fairies and elementals around. We've even got a couple of unicorns here as well.
We've got some sparkles going off in the room as well too. I keep seeing sparks of light around Rae. It's magical. It feels really timely for us to connect again, honey. It's been ages. Amazing. And so can you share your website and all your
yes,
connection. What are they called? Social media.
Social
connection.
media. Yes.
What are they called?
Yeah, it's your social media connection.
Yes.
Yes. Well, officially, you can find me. My website is www.radiantangelenergy.co.uk.
Oh, I see what you did there. Radiant. Oh.
Radiant. And I didn't realise when I came up with my business name, because I did a lot of numerology on it, that actually Radiant Angel Energy is the R, the A and the E, the first letters of my name.
That's right. And when you said radiant, I was like, radiant.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's, again, divine order that came in. And you can find me on Facebook, again, Facebook page, Radiant Angel Energy. And Twitter, Radiant Angel Energy. Instagram, Radiant Angel Energy.
I'll share all the links below, so you can just click on and find Rae everywhere.
Yeah,
like a little ray of light.
It's just spreading my wings to allow you to spread your wings.
Amazing. Oh, honey, thank you so much for talking to me today.
That's brilliant.
Thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you. Yes,
I need to give this woman a hug.
I definitely. It's been brilliant. Thank you for having me on the show.
So much fun. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. And for those of you watching, if you have any comments or anything you'd like to share, any experiences you'd like to share, we'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear feedback. I'd love to hear any topics you'd like me to cover on the Alexandra Wenman show, and indeed on Rae's show. I'm sure she'd love to know topics that you would like to know more about.
And if you want to be on my show, contact me.
There you go. She's looking for people. So and me as well. Always welcome. So thank you so much, honey.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.